rate of his city, and his goal was to make his city one of the safest cities in the United States. And then I was reading these stories. I was listening to your story just now and realizing, well, we could do that much easier if it started locally. And that's where this all got started. The idea of the word local hero. Is there any other kind? Like, can I be a hero sitting here in this studio right now in India? Well, no, because I'm right here. I could make a choice right here in this space that could affect India, but I can only ever be a local hero. What if, and follow me here, this is going to be terrifying.
Okay.
What if each of us carried around the title, Local Hero Saves World?
Whoa.
Yeah. All it takes is for me to, in my space, just like these local heroes, being their contribution in that moment, causing the change that only they could make in that moment by being willing to take committed action. They were local heroes, and their ripple, at least in the course of this child being mauled by a dog, this girl being dragged into a forest and raped and possibly killed, that ripple, who knows where that will end. The only way we can be heroes is to be local heroes, is to, in the space that we're in, step up, take action in this moment. Because sure, that whole story of, can't remember what it is, it's some sort of like, a butterfly flaps its wing, or when a little bug went ka-choo. Did you ever read that?
Seems like I have.
Some sort of children's story. But basically, it's about the chain effect of one action. You go, all the time travel movies are, you go back in time and you crush a plant, and all of a sudden, Hitler has 3 heads and is devouring children every day. Is that possible?
I don't remember the story like that, but
okay.
I actually wasn't in Germany, so
no, you never know.
Maybe.
Who knows what could be the ripple? So I'm wondering if it's possible that rather than we as humanity thinking that our heroism must be broad-reaching and extreme to the max, what if our heroism was local and deliberate? Like, what if in each moment of each day I was truly my contribution? What if when I saw a piece of garbage, I picked it up? How quickly would there be no garbage on the ground? How long would that take? I mean, how often do people see a car on the side of the road and drive by assuming it's all handled?
Yeah.
You know what I would love to see? I would love to see traffic completely stopped because everyone stopped to see if this car was okay. That when if it got to happen, there were 50 calls. I have called 911 precious few times in my life. Okay? And the reason it's been precious few times is because it's always the assumption someone else is going to handle it. And you know what I realized? There was a fire up on the mountain.
I was just thinking of that story.
A fire up on the mountain behind the city. And I saw the fire, and I was driving down the road, and I was like, you know what? Surely someone has noticed. It's up on the hill. Everyone can see it. And so I call 911, and sure enough, the 911 dispatcher said, yes, we were aware. And I was like, okay, that's great. So I guess I didn't have to. And then I realized, no, I got to. Because what if I had been the first one to see it? And what if the difference of time between me calling and the next person calling who didn't assume it had already been done was long enough for that mountain to completely go down and the houses below it? What if my hesitation meant lives?
Yeah.
What if I hadn't decided that in the moment I was experiencing or aware that something got to be different? What if I hadn't taken complete action to cause it something different? I remember my mom and I were driving in Los Angeles, or driving from Northern California to Los Angeles, and there's a car upside down, wrapped around a phone pole on the side of the freeway, and we stop, and we run out. My mom's a nurse. I'm a Boy Scout. I guess that's some sort of qualification, right? So we stop, we get out. I'm in the car that has been rolled over in the back seat, holding this woman's head up because it is broken.
Oh.
And I'm holding it there for about 2.5 hours while the EMTs are there serving her because I cannot move or she will die. Right? We were the first on the scene, and then a truck came by who happened to be an off-duty EMTer who stabilized her. And we're in the car looking around, seeing diapers and cigarettes and a lighter, and we're wondering where the heck the baby is. Thankfully, there was no baby, but what if we had decided not to...
So wait, was the baby smoking? Is that what he said?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
I believe she was picking up cigarettes for her baby.
Oh, okay.
But what if we had decided not to act? And the thing is, when the EMT finally relieved us, we just got in the car and drove away. No one ever knew who we were or what our names were. The EMTer who stopped also just got in the car. We get to Los Angeles. There's a news story about it saying some good Samaritans stopped.
Good-looking guy.
Yes, stopped and served and helped. Right? Yes, so proud. And we realized, my mom and I, how valuable it was for us to not only be in the right place at the right time, but to actually do something about it. And that actually, I was maybe 14 or 15 at the time, and that actually set for me my life on the direction of act in the moment. And so then I look at these heroes who acted in the moment, created value, look at picking up garbage, whatever that is. If it's not us, who's it going to be? Who's going to create this value that only we can create? The only reason I would be aware that there's a piece of trash there is that I was the one who got to pick it up. And in that moment of me not picking up the trash, what are the possible ramifications of that? I don't even want to consider it. And you know what? It doesn't require consideration because there is no reason not to be my contribution.
It's true.
There's no reason for anyone to choose something other than stepping up in that moment. And the only way that Patrick Klatt of Staten Island could have done what he did was that he was conscious and aware in that moment. He heard the girl screaming. He did not see her. And his instinct was to grab a bat and go after. It's a funny thing. Dog mauling woman didn't see it happening, just heard the dog barking and the child screaming and just ran for it. Didn't say, oh, I'm sure it's some kid in the backyard who's scared from the dog and just sat in her house. Only to be then the neighbor who was interviewed saying, wow, nothing like this ever happens on our street. It's such a nice dog and that child is so cute. I always see him out playing in the street. Well, but you heard the dog barking and the child screaming, right? Well, what did you think was happening? And why didn't you think that was your accountability to go and check it out? You know, I don't get it. I don't get why we're at this stage in human history that heroism is so scarce and far between that we're all surprised when it happens.
It's true. It's kind of pathetic when you put it in that perspective.
I want to see a shift. And so let's challenge our listeners.
Okay.
Shall we?
Okay.
Just as our listeners have learned the value of being the dancer in the space